All right. So I have mentioned before, I'm not a fan of GT. I'm not a fan of Super. I'm not a fan of probably, arguably, most of, I guess, the franchise of Dragon Ball at this point, if you include Heroes. Um, but even with being not a fan of those particular series, I can still take whichever parts are really good, or at least that I find to be of some high quality, and still acknowledge them as being the case. Uh, I would say Baby is probably the best villain outside, like out of that isn't from the manga, out of anything. So between GT, Super, Heroes, outside of maybe Goku Black, and even then, I still think if we just count actual execution of the character, Baby would trump him in a heartbeat. Because I did the why Goku Black was wasted video where I explained why I thought his character was kind of thrown to the back burner, like they didn't use him properly. So you can go check that out if you would like to understand my full reasons for that. But that would be the main reason why I would say that Baby is superior to Black, because he actually gets to be the true antagonist of his own arc. And also, unlike Black, he doesn't disappear between episodes. Um, During Baby's arc, it's basically a pretty even sharing of screen time between him and Goku, or at least Goku and Pan. So he's not relegated to being this little mysterious thing that the writers choose to only use when they feel like it. I guess we'll start this in chronological order like we do with the rest of the streams. So Baby's introduced during the first arc of GT. He's revealed to have been controlling General Rildo and be part of Dr. Mew's mutants. And he's got a great disdain for the Saiyans because they killed off the Tuffles. He possesses Trunks initially, and Trunks is able to get him out of his body. And unbeknownst to Trunks, he lays an egg inside of him that later will be a factor in the story. But he gets to Earth before the main cast gets to Earth. So that's Goku, Pan, and Trunks. And when he's over there, he initially encounters Goten. Goten puts up a decent fight, or at least appears to be the victor, and then he ends up getting possessed, a fusion of Goku Black and Baby Vegeta. The only problem with Baby is when he turned into, oh, we'll get into that. Yeah, I didn't. I'm not a fan of that either. In my opinion, that part of him was basically them just trying to be nostalgic for the part of the Goku versus Vegeta fight from the Saiyan arc where Vegeta turns into a great ape. That was just them trying to rip that off. And again, I'm not going to necessarily hold that against GT, because a lot of later Dragon Ball stuff does that, where they make these really obvious references to earlier material, like how in Super they changed Piccolo surviving Resurrection F to him dying protecting Gohan, which is an obvious reference to when he sacrificed himself for Gohan in the Saiyan arc. And then they have Vegeta do a self-destruct explosion during the Tournament of Power, and that's obviously in reference to when he did it when he was Majin Vegeta against Buu. So, all these shows like to basically take things and recycle them. I'd actually argue the Golden Ape's probably the least offensive, but we'll get into that when we get to it. So he gets to Earth. He fights Goten. It's probably the only time Goten in just all of Z and GT actually gets to do something that's very relevant to the plot. So I guess we can thank Baby for that. He gave Goten his 2 seconds of fame. But then after possessing Goten, he gets kind of like showing off his rage toward Gohan because he's trying to goad him into fighting him. They have a fight where Gohan is very easily able to determine that that's not actually Goten. He's been possessed by some entity. At the end of this fight, you see Piccolo, who has saved Goten from the blast. We'll get into how Piccolo was treated like trash in GT at some other point. But he loses his very, very short not even 20-second fight to Baby very easily. Let me read what Karan just wrote. One tuber already had Black and Baby merge through the Patara earring. Oh, I want to know what that looked like. Can somebody send me a picture? Wait, is it Baby Vegeta or just Baby in his like that blue form where he's not actually possessing anybody? Yeah, but Dio, that was really crazy because they don't even let him have a minute of screen time. Like he just has a cameo and then they kill him off after in like his exact next appearance after that. Oh, that was awful. I don't get that at all. That was so unnecessary. But that's not an actual fault of Baby's character. That's just the writers being weird. Because they easily could have written it to where Goten survived the blast without Piccolo saving him. But yeah, the next thing that happens is Baby gets Vegeta cornered. Him as Gohan and the possessed Goten fight Vegeta and take him over. We're treated to Vegeta basically mocking Baby in the Tuffles, which is I'm gonna explain this later, but I'm of the belief that Baby would have been better off if his permanent host was Gohan, because seeing Vegeta become evil for a third time kind of felt a little redundant, and also um, the character of Vegeta is very what's a good word for it? He's unique in that he's not like the rest of the Saiyans, like Goku or Gohan or any of the other people, where he actually remembers what happened on Planet Vegeta, their history of the Saiyans. So to see a character like that who is really unique and only being able to, I guess, speak to Baby in that type of way, not be able to say anything to him like that. I mean, could you just imagine the Baby arc if Vegeta was not the host? And every time he's around Baby, he's like, "Oh, you're gonna die just like the rest of the Tuffles." Ha 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 ha. All right, let me look at this picture. Oh, that looks nice. Yeah, but Baby's not canon, so we're not gonna get that. Trek says Baby Planet had conflicts with Planet Vegeta. Well, I said that. Is my audio gargled? Let me make sure. Is there some kind of technical issue where I'm not being properly heard? And then Trek says Baby Race probably was rejoicing after Planet Vegeta was decimated. Yeah, they got the last laugh. That's why I don't get why people like Saiyan so much, because they're not good people. They're just they were a bunch of weak thugs who went around killing people, and then a bigger thug in Frieza ended up destroying them because he thought they might eventually surpass him. I told you all the Saiyans after Future Trunks, like Kid Trunks, Goten, the original Broly. You could take all of them and throw them in the trash because I'm not interested in them. But yeah, like I was saying, they get Vegeta. He gets Vegeta's body, and then I don't think there's anything in between that and when Goku and the rest of them get back to Earth. Uh, and then he confronts Goku. He beats him. Goku goes Super Saiyan 3. It doesn't do anything because that's what they love to do. They love to have whatever was the previous strongest form get creamed. This one person said Super Saiyan 3 is cursed because every time it shows up after the uh, fight against Fat Boo, it just basically is there to job. Like it doesn't work against Kid Boo. It doesn't work against Beerus. It doesn't work against Baby. It's just there to set up some technique or some new form. Oh my god! But yeah, he takes out Goku, who he thinks is dead, and then we get Oob intervening, and the Baby Oob fight is it's so underrated. Like the choreography is good. Um, just God, I really hate that it's as short as it is. But I did say before that the episode where Baby fights Oob is one of my favorites of GT because while you're watching the two of them fight, you get these little scenes of like comical stuff with Goku getting his tail extended. So it's this nice little balance of seriousness with, comedy, and you don't really get that for the rest of the show. But yeah, so Oob loses even after he gets his fusion, which turns out to be kind of for nothing. Uh, and then Goku comes back, gets creamed again. I think, by the way, that might actually be I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think Baby's the only villain ever that beat Goku twice. Like just in the same arc of the main villain. So he fought twice and lost twice. Like it took 3 times to win. Okay, Karan said Super Saiyan 3 is the Saiyan curse. Oh, don't bring her up. I don't even. Hey, don't mention any of those other Dragon Ball people. They like to. A certain one of them has a tendency to appear places where his name is mentioned. he likes to. He's like a genie in a bottle. Or better yet, if you like say his name on the stream, he just sneezes and he goes to look up if anyone's talking about Dragon Ball. Okay, Trek says Saiyans are cold-blooded. Goku transitioned into a noble person after knocking his own head. Well, that's what I'm saying, that most of the Saiyans, that like people keep talking about, they want this character, this new. I'm good. I just think they're really overrated as a whole. But now let me go back to what I was saying. So he loses, he gets Super Saiyan 4. Baby starts getting creamed. And of course, so with Karan said earlier about the golden ape form being stupid, the reason they did that is the reason they didn't let Vegito just beat up Super Buu and kill him, and that would be the end of the Buu arc, or have Super Saiyan 2 Gohan kill Cell without the broken arm. They never let the hero just win a fight fairly after getting some big power boost that puts them above the antagonist. They always have to find a way to make it have more stakes than artificially necessary. One of the reasons I like the Goku versus King Piccolo fight from the end of the King Piccolo arc is that they're powered fairly evenly. So there's really no part where it's just Goku completely decimating Piccolo. Like they don't have to do that. They don't have to, go, oh my God, we can't let Goku just win this fight fairly. So now we have to find some way to handicap him or give the other person a big power up. They find a way to overproduce. Yeah, it was the same reason why Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta he wouldn't be allowed to beat Omega Shenron. God forbid we ever let the hero if anyone, what's a good word for it? If the villain gets a power up to where they're stronger than the hero, they can still lose. But if the hero gets some massive power up, we got to find a way to mess it up. We can't just let them win after decimating their enemy. It was the same thing with Gohan versus Super Buu. Oh, he's completely destroying him. Time to have him fuse. Time for Buu to get his, what was that, his fifth form? Let's see, we had Fat Buu, we had Evil Buu, we had obviously first form Super Buu. Yeah, damn, 4 of them. Dio says we got to pad out the arc somehow. Well, it's not even that. They never allow the protagonist character to just win in a easy way. Like the only time that ever happened in anything where just the second some character shows up, that's a good guy, they get to just beat the villain and that's it, was in Fusion Reborn with Gogeta against Janemba. But that's only because that was after a whole movie of Goku and Vegeta getting, basically thrown around like rag dolls. Yeah, they love doing that. So that's why that golden ape form exists. Yes, it is unnecessary. Yes, I don't think we should have had it. But again, we can't just let Super Saiyan 4 win. The heroes are never allowed to be overpowered. I'd say the only stupid thing Baby does the entire time he's in the story is all the way toward the end when he leaves Vegeta's body. He has this thing where every time he meets a stronger person, he tries to possess them. But when he meets Goku, who he admits is the strongest Saiyan, who he admits he'd be unstoppable if he had his body, he doesn't try to possess him. Like just, and again, that's more so due to plot armor than an actual in-story reason. And if the writers were just a little bit more conscious of not having plot holes like that are very obvious to point out, they could have just had Baby say, I will never possess Goku because of some moral reason, or have him have some specific grudge against him that at least made his choice to not try to possess him make sense. Super Saiyan 4 is just a primitive humanoid version of the Great. I mean, at least it's not a palette swap like all those damn forms from Super. At least it doesn't get outdated one arc later, like pretty much every form of Super Saiyan besides it. Dio says, I want Goku to suffer. Over there being a sadist. No, but I'm going to do a video probably this week or next week on why Gohan would have been a better permanent host for Baby. And the reasons I had were numerous, but one of them was that the main characters of GT are Goku and Pan. And it would have been cool if the first like big villain they fight together in the show is, for Goku, his possessed son who's trying to take over the Earth, and then for Pan, her possessed dad that's trying to take over the Earth. Like basically this character that is the what's a good word for it? The genetic link between Goku and Pan is like also the first antagonist of the show they have to fight together. Why didn't Baby Potara fuse Goten and Vegeta? I don't think he had access to the Potara earrings. That's all he had to say. Okay, Karan says, wasn't Super Saiyan 4 Goku wounded? Pretty sure Baby is always able to possess someone through entering. Yeah, the little like cuts that he had across from fighting him for so long. But for whatever reason, plot armor, they just decided we're not even going to bother having him try. And again, all they had to do was just have him lunge toward Goku, and then Goku blast him away, and then that would be it. He would still get to keep his plot armor, but it would still look as if it wasn't the case because the villain was actually competent enough to try to do that. Yeah, I remember when the Dragon Ball Wiki was like before it started to be run by clowns, and before Super got announced and Battle of Gods and the rest of that, they used to actually like proudly display on Gogeta's page, this is the strongest character in the franchise because of Super Saiyan 4. And then with Omega Shenron, they were like, this is the second strongest character in the franchise. It was true. But because Super came out, they can't say that anymore. No, they really God, Baby is so I'd say he's probably the reason I would prefer him over Goku Black is because even if I like the way Black looks more, like his design, and then also I guess the initial impression, they just use him really, really awfully as his art goes on, like just horribly, to where with Baby that's not really the case at all. Like he's got a stupid transformation, which is that golden great ape form, and I think he possesses the wrong person permanently to make the story better. But that's about it. Like he has a good motivation. He's the first villain since Frieza. This is before, like not counting Super. So in that timeline of Dragon Ball Z and then GT, he's the first villain since Frieza to actually try to do something with the Dragon Balls when he makes Planet Tuffle. He's the first villain since Frieza to actually want to rule over people, because Cell and Buu just want to destroy everything. And Baby's not, like, he's crazy and psychotic and whatnot, and that's to be expected with most of the villains in the franchise, but he isn't just trying to destroy things because it makes him feel good or whatever. He actually does want to remake the Tuffles. The problem is he wants to possess everybody. And that's what made him so impressive to me. He actually accomplished his goal. He possessed, like, literally, I can only count, was it 6 characters that he didn't possess? Uh yeah, I remember when Nappa appeared. Not in FT, but GT. For like 10 seconds before Vegeta blew him to pieces. I have never. Oh no, you love. Don't start doing that. DBZ Super. DBZ Super. Man, I remember when that show first came out, and this is before the dub started. All the kids in my class, I can't. Hey, did you see the new episode of DBZ Super? It's like, what? Why would they put a subtitle on a subtitle? Okay, that's not toward you specifically. It's just like, damn, like they would say that stuff unironically, and I would just go like this every time they said it because it was so like, what? Why? If they called Dragon Ball Dragon Ball, and then Z was just Z, and then GT was just GT, why would they stick Super after Z? I mean, if you are, I'd have my Infinity Gauntlet, and I'd go bye. But apparently you're not. Trex, I was a bigger fan of the original Naruto. The second series just does too much bootlicking and absolving of responsibility towards Sasuke to where like he's just in it too much for me to like it that much. And I think it's all right. It's just I don't believe it's as good as part 1. That's like a running theme. Every one of these animes, every time they change the name, it's always worse than how it started. This is the first time I've ever heard it as DBZ Super. Laugh your way. Hey, this is a profanity free stream. No, Music Fiend. When I was in 12th grade, that's when because Super started airing when I was in 11th grade. All these kids, did you see DBZ Super? Did you see DBZ Super? I was like, where's my noose? Where's the rope? I can't stand this trash anymore. But yeah, if I would point to any ways that they kind of, so I debated doing a Baby Was Wasted video, but I decided against it because I don't actually think he was. I just think there was like just a little bit of stuff they could have done that would have made me more satisfied with how his character was used. And that's mainly just, again, him having Gohan as his host because I think it would have made more sense, which I'll go into at a later point. Oh yeah, Super 17 was wasted definitely, but I don't think Baby was, is what I'm saying. That's why I decided against doing a video like that. Oh, there's Ruben. He got mad at me for liking his tweets. That's actually a thing people do where they get upset when you like positively engage with their stuff. Like there was this one person who blocked me for liking their pictures. And I remember I had just my mouth was wide open when I went on their page. Like when I clicked on it and it said, you have been barred. Like I was like, what? It's like you put these up for people to like them. So I said, people online act so damn crazy. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? But look, let me get back to Baby. So, just to recall the characters he doesn't possess, it's Pan, Hercule, Fat Boo, or I guess Good Boo. We just say Boo maybe, because I don't want people to say I'm body shaming Boo. Piccolo, Oob, and Goku. So he possesses all the characters except for 6 people. And I really hate that we don't really get to see him interact with any of them other than Goku and Oob. Like he speaks to Pan a few times, but he only gets to fight Goku and Oob, and then the Oob fight literally is just to stall time. And that actually could be a video by itself why Oob was wasted, because he shows up in the first episode of GT, and I'm like, oh my god, he's gonna play some big role. And then his whole thing after his first appearance in that show is basically just him either jobbing or being part of group attacks. Like they turned him into Yamcha. Like Yamcha got more screen time in Z uh than than Oob got in GT, even though he was supposed to be the designated successor to Goku. Yeah, they treat him like trash. They turn him into the new Piccolo. Except at least Piccolo didn't disappear for whole arcs like Oob does in GT. Okay, Dio says they should have an Ultra 17, a fusion of 17 from the original Future Trunks timeline and Super 17. It's gonna be called Triple 17 or 317 or something. What do you mean he's now the fat guy during the moral arch? He always was. That's what they explain that in Z. That's why he's different from Kid Buu because of the fusion between the Grand Supreme Kai and Kid Buu, or the original form of Buu. So that's not something that the moral arc introduced. What the moral arc did do is retcon it to where the reason Fat Buu was weak, or rather, excuse me, Grand Supreme Kai was weak against Kid Buu was because he used his power to seal Moro, and he was tired after that. No, he's not back to Kai. He's sleeping. Remember, we haven't seen him in like was it 10 months? Whatever chapter was where Piccolo kicked the crap out of those clowns that came to Earth. That's what was it? The trio of siblings. Toei looked at baby Vegeta and were like, "Oh, an evil Vegeta, easy peasy. We can do it better," and created copy Vegeta. Well, yeah, that's the joke that like in every show, Vegeta, there's like either Vegeta is evil or there's a version of him that's evil. We can't just have him be a protagonist. Now you don't even like Piccolo, or you only like Vegeta and Goku. I read your Wikipedia page. They explicitly said those are your two favorite characters, and everybody else is scum. So you already got exposed. Let's see if I can read this comment here. No, out of all of the characters that are, I forgot to read Trex's comment. Baby to me was mediocre. He seemed kind of annoying, to be honest. On the contrary, people will see different. I mean, hey, whatever. That's my favorite thing where you do like a character appreciation stream, and then somebody's like, I hate him. Like, well, damn, you got to show up to. You have to tell me that. Because I think that happened. What stream was that where that occurred? Which one was it? There was one where someone came on there writing some crazy crap. Toei and Toriyama did Piccolo dirty. An all-male race, really yuck. Yeah, I mean, the thing is that they kind of Toriyama laid the groundwork for that before the Piccolo that more people are familiar with was even introduced. Because remember, King Piccolo spat out like 5 eggs, 5 kids in one arc. Just so that was like, why would they need women, basically? Now, see, they could have, if they were smart, introduced female, because it's just green people with tits. They could have had that as well and had them have the same ability where it's like, sometimes the egg is male, sometimes it's female, but both genders can reproduce without having a partner. But, Toriyama wasn't thinking that far. Nah, Trex, we know who you like and who you don't like. Now, for me, the only thing that was annoying about him was just Vegeta becoming a villain again. Toei pooped the bed even more when they had baby Android 17 and 18 appear in the. Oh, that's I know who you're talking. They're the ones that possess Kale and Khalifa, right? I forgot their names. It's like Cayman and some other crap. And you know they're trying to make at least Baby's tactics canon because they have the same red lines over their eyes. Oh, that's another thing. Just in reference to Baby's design. So his when he is just possessing Vegeta before he has all those power ups, I don't blame you. They are forgettable. Yeah, I was like, what is the point of that other than just fan service? But yeah, they have. But his design when he's possessing Vegeta with the red lines over the eyes, I thought was really cool because it was literally Vegeta infected by this weird. Not well, for Dragon Ball, a lot of stuff is weird, but just this specimen, like he looked possessed. And then when they started doing the yellow arm pads, and then he had his final form where he was wearing some black pants and some white shirt. I was like, what the hell? Like it didn't even look like Vegeta anymore. And I guess maybe the not the writers, the designers were like, oh, we have to give him transformations because every major villain has to have that apparently, except for Super 17. Uh, but it looks nothing like Vegeta. Like he could have just possessed anybody else and they would have that design, I guess. Off-brand Vegeta. Now that I don't know what they were thinking. Fred, are you talking about the one with the sped up voice that had like 3 movies on Nickelodeon for no reason? Would you really want to see Piccolo lay an egg out of his? He comes out of his mouth. What, Flintstone? I mean, there are a lot of Freds. When those baby androids possessed Vegeta in DBH, he looked even worse. I don't even want to imagine. I'm gonna have to go look it up. But yeah, that's pretty much the so a few crappy designs, a stupid transformation, and that's pretty much it. Like he doesn't up until when Goku turns Super Saiyan 4, he's pretty much outclassed everybody. I guess maybe Oop could have beat him, but we'll never know because they had to give us this anticlimactic ending to that fight where instead of Baby just simply defeating Oop, they have him turn himself into chocolate by having the beam deflect back to him. And I'm like, oh, okay, we're just gonna keep using that over and over. He gained all of his strength in the Z saga for nothing. Well, what he did in Z still matters. He can still transform into all those different forms he gained during that show. It is funny when you watch people who are like, if they had just left Goku as an adult, the show would have been better or would have been good. I'm like, really? That's the problem with that show. Not that they don't focus on any other characters besides him and maybe Pan. And now Music Fiend is trying to become my soundsman. He's like, I heard this audio. Oh yeah, that looks awful. That looks terrible. Yeah, I don't know who. That looks like some fan drew that. Trek says Dragon Ball Z Goku had no tail. GT Goku grows a tail until he becomes a kid in appearance, although his age never changed, I suppose. That's what I thought. All right, Dio, we're gonna have to take you to grammar school. We're gonna have you sit in a little desk, writing your spelling words. Yeah, but well, I'm not disagreeing with that, Yulov. I'm simply saying that there are people who like legitimately post that if they just had Goku be an adult, the show would have been way better, or would have been good. All the problems that people have specifically stated would somehow be erased. Oh, you know a character that they really do kind of waste with Baby? outside of Vegeta, Trunks, because Trunks is the first person that Baby possesses. And then when he gets to Earth, you get like a little brief scene of him interacting with Baby Vegeta, and then he gets possessed right after that. Like you don't get to see him actually struggle with the idea of having to fight his father and possibly kill him. That's one of the reasons I don't like possession stories, because a lot of times they remove characters that can have interesting interactions with the rest of the cast. Pan was like a damsel in distress throughout the entire GT arc, throughout the whole damn show. The only redeeming thing she does is at least get the most screen time of anyone whose name isn't Goku. But she still is wasted. She's basically that show's version of Vegeta in Super, where it's like, yeah, they get the most screen time of anyone that's not Goku, but they still don't actually get to do the heavy lifting a lot of times. Like they'll get like one or two moments where it's kind of cool, and then the rest of it is just. No, they really wasted Boo during Baby's arc. Like he was the only what's a good word for it? He's the only character that actually has powers that we don't really get to see interact physically with Baby. Like we know that Baby tried to possess him, but the eggs came out of his body because he can like take pieces off himself, which was a really smart idea. And then they go, oh, there he is. There's Megumi. Yeah, I knew he would like this. But the entire totality of Boo's fight against Baby is literally just to show up and take a blast for Oob and get blown into pieces for a fusion that still doesn't even beat Baby. I feel like they added Pan only to make the show politically correct. Well, I mean, she was introduced in Z, so she had to be in the show. They did just choose to have her as a main character though, for whatever reason. Like I said, the only thing that she has over Trunks is that she actually gets to still be part of the story after the Baby arc is over. Whereas, literally, by the time they return to Earth, I almost forgot Trunks was even the main character of that show, because they don't do anything with him anymore, other than have him just be part of group shots, getting beat up by whoever the new villain is. Like they had him show up and just get smashed by Super 17, then by Omega Shenron, and be Baby's slave. And I just, they wasted him. Somebody actually said that you can compare future Trunks and Kid Trunks' roles in the Cell and Baby arc to each other, where they have like this one distinguishing moment when they're introduced or at the start of it. And then by the end of it, they just peter out entirely almost. Like everybody's like, oh man, Future Trunks was so cool when he cut up Frieza. And then what other cool things did he do for the rest of his tenure in Z? He got beat up by 17. He got, I guess, to hit second form Cell a couple of times before fighting him in a buff form that still couldn't get the job done, where Cell was just taking pity on him. He holds his own against a Cell Jr., but still doesn't beat it, and then gets killed by Cell to make Vegeta start treating him like a human being. And then in the Baby arc with Kid Trunks, or I guess regular Trunks, they have him have this really nice personal interaction with Baby Vegeta at the start of it. Then he gets possessed. Then he power-ups Baby Vegeta to make him look cooler. Then he powers up Baby, Super Saiyan 4 Goku to take out Baby. So they had like a really good moment at the start, and then by the end of it, they just peter out. When Trunks went Ultra Super Saiyan, he literally was weaker than regular Super Saiyan. Yeah, that's why it's really amusing that he's as popular as he is to me, because his win to loss ratio, like everybody goes, oh, Krillin loses all the time. Like, yeah, but I mean, every character that's not Goku gets smacked around over and over. I still have about half an hour to watch, though. Came late. It's fine. That's why we have the replay option. Yeah, Dio Cell was my favorite villain as well. That's why I'm as upset over the fact that they literally never bring him back. Out of all the main villains in Z, he's the only one that is contained within his arc. But he didn't even win that. He got the last blow on Zamasu, and then Zamasu destroyed his whole timeline. Like Dio, imagine if when Gohan like shot Super Perfect Cell with the Kamehameha wave, Cell just regenerates and then blows up Earth and kills everybody on there. Like, would that actually be better? Would you consider that a win for Gohan or a loss? It's like, yeah, you got the last shot, but he got the last laugh when he destroyed everything you were trying to say. Karan says Oob was just there in GT. His character arc finished in one arc, and after that, he took Piccolo's spot. But he got treated even worse than Piccolo because in Z, Piccolo at least got screen time. Oob literally vanishes between the first episode of GT and all the way up until he saves Pan from Gohan and Videl when they're possessed and trying to basically kill her. Damn, Ubo got one spotlight, like two spotlight moments. No, I'll take it back. 3 in GT. When he saves Pan, when he fights Baby, and when he's inside of Baby and messing with his stomach to get Goku to be able to like buy him time to power up. So they gave him three moments of decency in one arc. And one in the whole show. Yeah, Megumi, it sucks because Oob was supposed to be Goku's successor. Like they, at the very least, they should have had him go with Goku to get the Black Star balls. Or if they were, if they were being smart, they could have had him, let's say, I don't know what's a good word for it, fight Baby or at least appear earlier in that arc before. Like he's literally just there for an episode or two as a false protagonist. Zamasu felt justice was weeding out Earth, a total lunatic. Hey, well, that's why I like Baby. He's not just trying to destroy everything for no reason. I think they should have brought Cell back for the multiverse tournament. Well, Dio. Remember they turned Frieza into Cell. They had him trained for 4 months, and he became so super powerful and strong. I just realized if they had Cell instead of Frieza, that means we would have had just as many androids as Saiyans on that team. Because remember, it was Goku, Gohan, and Vegeta that were the Saiyans for the Universe 7 team. And then for for that team as well, they'd have 3 androids with 18, 17, and Cell. And then 3 humans. So everything is in trios. It would have been crazy if they had the tournament end with like Gohan and Cell teaming up to take out Jiren or something. like they basically do what Goku and Frieza did, and it's even more tense when you remember that that it's kind of similar where you remember that Gohan killed Cell, and then Krillin wins the tournament. That would have been way better. Even when he merges with Majin Buu, his power showcase was very short and didn't seem so impactful either. Well, when he was fighting Baby Vegeta. Yeah, they give him literally 1 episode to actually be the star. Like, think of how crazy this is. Vegito is, we talk about fusions don't really stay on screen that often. Vegito literally got more time to leave an impression in terms of like his fight against Super Buu being longer than Oob's fight against Baby was. Dio says Perfect Cell could reabsorb Cell. Oh man, let's not start that again. He's in his perfect form. He can't. Absorption is the only time we ever saw him absorb anyone in his perfect form was in GT, which, as you might remember, everyone loves to say is not canon. So you can drop that. You remember that his whole point was that he didn't need that form, like he didn't need them anymore. That's why he was like, without absorbing 18, I was still able to get my perfect form because there was a copy of it in my memory or whatever the hell. Mecha Frieza, what a vain aftermath. They literally bring Frieza back just to have him get one-shotted by Trunks. So I said the only time Frieza ever got brought back and it was actually kind of cool was in the Tournament of Power. And I was already like, I say that even though they did piss me off by taking Fat Boo out of that, because that was just him sleeping for the, what was it, the third or fourth arc in a row. That's him. That's him in Super Universe 6 tournament. Tournament of Power. Moral arc. It's like, what the hell is wrong? Like, how are you that damn lazy? Not him, the writers. Like, how do you just keep using that same stupid excuse? Goku in Hell was to prior. What you mean when he fought? When he went in Hell in GT, that was after, because that's in the Super 17 arc. Mecha Yamcha. Someone actually did make a android Yamcha, like basically imagine Yamcha as an android. No, Megumi, it's so screwed up in both Super and GT. They give Boo one instance to shine, and after that they just get rid of him for the rest of the show. Because in GT they give Boo the little noise I made, the moment where he saves Oop from taking that blast from Baby by absorbing it and then explodes into pieces to cover him to make the new form. And then the fight against that dog, what was it, Bazil or whatever, from that universe, that Tournament of Power exhibition match. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Trex. That Super Saiyan 4 was introduced before that. It's definitely a shame, because I've actually seen some people who say 18 and 17 can't get stronger because they're androids. I'm like, well, I would think Boo can get stronger if Frieza can get stronger. Like if Frieza in 4 months can go from being weaker than what was it, first form Cell, to now being on like God level or whatever. I don't even want to imagine. That's why they just pissed me off, especially when you remember in Super that they showed Boo with his like slim down form, the one that looked like Super Boo. You might know what I'm talking about. It's like, oh, we could have had that. But there goes those good old writers screwing everything up again. Oh, Karan says it was too expensive for them to animate the spots in Cell. Well, like I said, all they had to do was just give him a new form with no spots. That's it. Like just have him show up in his new form without spots, say he gained it when he was in Hell, and there you go. So, it's not hard to like get around certain stuff. Toriyama was really dumb for doing that. I'm going to design this character that is such a pain for me to draw. Like he brought that on himself. Nobody told him he had to put spots on Cell. The only time any of his I guess his editor complained about Cell was that he should have the ability to transform and that he wanted him to get to his third form quickly. He didn't say anything about you have to put spots on him. So that was just something Toriyama did to himself. He shot himself in the foot basically with that design. These spots are so hard to draw and they take me so long. And then it's like we know that Toyotaro and Toriyama take turns drawing the manga, so they could easily just have somebody else come and do the spots after he finishes the pages. Like I said, they're just really, really lazy. We know Toriyama is lazy. That's why we don't even see him on like do a press conference, or it's always just some in-person one-on-one interview. I'm gonna do a Toriyama roast stream. That's gonna be the final Dragon Ball stream, talking about all the stupid stuff he did. Goku added to it toward Frieza, and Cell was like, "Nah, I'm not required to go Super Saiyan 4 with you menaces." Yeah, he was way lasting. Like I said, Super Saiyan 2 is enough to give both of them. Well, he would blow Frieza away in one blast, and he probably could beat Cell very easily. You have to forget 3 or 4, just use 2. No, they really I don't know, Baby could have benefited from fighting more people. That like it's kind of funny I say that he's not like Black and that they actually let him be the main antagonist, but they do kind of hinder him by only having him after he gets to his final person he permanently possesses, only fight two people. And it sucks because we were, I think if I remember correctly, there was a scene where Trunks and Goten suggested fusing before Goku's like, no, that won't work. So we could have seen Gotenks fight Baby, Great Ape Baby. But for whatever reason, they're too lazy to design adult Gotenks. The only reason anybody even likes those two characters, we're not going to let that form be in there. Toriyama is as good as his editor. Or they remember they always try to make the person on top sound like they're the demon. Like, oh my god, if this editor didn't do this, they would have ruined they wouldn't have ruined the story. But you look at a lot of the stuff that Toriyama comes up with by himself, you go, I'm not quite sure. In terms of power level, is the Great Ape stronger than Super Saiyan 4? Though when Goku reached his full Super Saiyan 4 potential, he was able to defeat Baby Great Ape form. Yeah, I think what it was that he was tired uh, from fighting him, and then that's why he was able to. Because when he gets the power up from the everybody, like basically giving them their energy, he's able to pretty much do it with ease or without any issue. So I think he probably was stronger, but it was more so just circumstances. It's kind of like with, is Gohan stronger than Super Perfect Cell, where, he probably was, but the arm and the fact we don't actually get to see them fight each other, it's literally just this blast and then the beam struggle. So it kind of is ambiguous. Yeah, Trex, that's actually not counting Vegeta, that's the only prior to Resurrection F, the only movie that a main villain from Z was in. That's why Vegeta's not in the first 5 Dragon Ball Z movies because Toei's staff wasn't sure if he was just going to be another arc antagonist or a major character. Remember Frieza, you teach this son of a Saiyan a lesson, and then he just one-shots him. The sins of the father. Okay, Dio says Dr. Gero would have been the main villain. That's all we would have had if Toriyama had his way. Yeah. No, there's a lot of stupid stuff Toriyama wanted to do. So remember how I said one of the reasons I didn't like Super is they took the two movies and made them stretch out and uglier looking. It was his idea to do that. And it was his idea to replace Boo with Frieza in that tournament. So he comes up with a lot of little goofy stuff. Goku had been fighting for a long time. Yeah, that fight between him and Baby, wasn't that like 5 or 6 episodes? I'd have to go look. It was a while. They were going back and forth for a pretty long duration. I guess Super spoiled me because there's no fight in Super from what I recall outside of the 2 movie retellings that's longer than like maybe 2 episodes at most. So I just remembered that. I was like, oh yeah, they fought for that long duration of time. No, but Baby is easily the most successful, probably of any of the villains in accomplishing his goal outside of Zamasu and Frieza. It's like because he actually took over Earth and he made Planet Tuffle and he became the leader and he possessed almost every damn body except for 6 people, as I mentioned earlier. I just realized when I used to have Budokai Tenkaichi 3 and I'd like to like reenact the Baby fight, and I was always like, oh yeah, this is the only there's basically all of the characters that are theoretically playable So like that game doesn't have GT Go on, doesn't have GT Goten, but it does have Piccolo who looks the same in GT. I would put the characters that didn't get possessed against Baby on hard mode, like just basically imagining Piccolo, Hercule, Pan, Goku, Oob, all just teaming up. Like, well, we're gonna fight Baby and take him out. Like, just see how long this computer can last against me with 5 characters. Oh, you love the Frieza fights. Apparently, the longest fight in all of animation. Apparently, it's like 26 episodes. They honestly should have just replaced 18 with Boo. Can you imagine Boo getting on Frieza's nerves? I don't even remember 18 and Frieza actually ever interacting, like even during the tournament, which is another, when I do my like why 18 was wasted video, I'm gonna mention how when Resurrection F was announced, I was excited because I was thinking, oh, they're gonna have a scene where like 18 gets pissed that Frieza is back because she's aware that he's responsible for Krillin's death, and none of that. She doesn't even meet him. He kills her without them ever interacting. No, they don't even bother. That's another thing. They really, a lot of the characters that they have Baby implied to have possessed, they don't really give them any kind of role. Like we could have had an episode where Baby fought 18 before possessing her. We could have had an episode where he fought Tien before possessing him. Instead, it's just implied. You either appear possessed, or you don't appear in the arc at all. So that was kind of another missed opportunity. No, they don't give anyone anything to do. And it really sucks because the arc implies, even though Oob gets very limited screen time, it implies he's actually what's a good word for it? He's on a different level from everyone else because it's really like the fact that he was aware enough of Baby to avoid getting possessed when literally every single other person on the planet did. That could have easily been an episode where they showed Oob investigating. He's like, why the hell are all these people acting this way? You know, but they just didn't feel the need to do that. They have him completely out of GT all the way from the first episode until the one where he saves Pan, which again is like half the show where he just isn't in it at all. Like I think, oh, that is just the more I think about that, that just upsets me. And again, that's not a problem like to where I just would hate GT. It's just the fact that the end of Z sets up Oob, and then the stuff that like because it's the only thing that is definitively set after Z, the ending of Z, not the Boo arc, like they just so wasted. Would have been cool to see how they would act under Baby's influence. Well, yeah, we get these little fleeting scenes of them interacting or acting under his influence, as opposed to actually seeing him how he possessed each person. Because I'd imagine with the stronger characters like 17, 18, Tien, they could have put up a fight. Yeah, they could have had Oob get tipped off to see. It's really Dragon Ball is really easy to write, even though people like to pretend it isn't. They could have had Oob get tipped off to the fact that there were these power levels that kept rising because people were like fighting Baby and getting possessed over and over, whether that's Tien or 18 or whoever the hell. And then he could have gone to investigate. He could have hid under some rock. He could have seen that whoever got possessed was acting in a kind of strange way, and then he could have followed that person, and then found out that the Super Dragon Balls were just stupid. There's a lot of stuff that Super introduces that makes me want to vomit, like making Patara earrings non-permanent. It's like, then what's the difference between them and the fusion dance, other than I guess combining clothes? No, that arc, God, but like the way they treated Piccolo during that arc was bad too, because they literally have him show up twice. The first time to get one shotted, and the second time to die. And it didn't have to be that way. Like, wouldn't it have been cool if maybe he fought before Baby got around Goten or any of them? He fought Piccolo, and then he beat him, or he got away or escaped or whatever. Kind of similar to how Cell escaped from Piccolo in the Cell arc. And then Piccolo could have just been looking around for him, and then only found him after. He, like I said, I got to rewrite these arcs. Yeah, Megumi, they literally have him show up to get one shotted, which was completely unnecessary because Goten was strong enough to survive a blast. It's like there's no way Baby was gonna possess him just to kill him after getting out of his body. Like it was out of character. So they just have him show up to get one shot to show how strong Baby is, and then to get murdered by Earth. We need like a top 10 characters that GT did dirty. Because Piccolo and Krillin would definitely be in there. Is Piccolo still fused with Nail? Yes. He's still fused with Nail. No, that arc would have benefited from having Baby versus Piccolo, Baby versus Boo, Baby versus Oob, Baby versus Pan, Baby versus Goku, because those are the only characters that can fight, other than Hercule, who is always treated as a joke. But they're the only ones who can fight that actually, theoretically, at some point, can stand a chance against Baby, depending on who he's possessing. No, Megumi, that's what I was like. I was trying to like. I kept mentioning this, that Super is the first show that Krillin doesn't die in. And it sucks because Super technically still isn't over because the manga's going on. So they might actually, I was like, damn it. Because they made it to where the only show where Piccolo doesn't die in is the original. Because in Resurrection F, the movie he lives, but then in the stupid, ridiculous adaptation, they have him die just to get brought back like 10 minutes later. Just completely unnecessary. Didn't offer nothing to the story. God, I'm so just saddened by the state of Dragon Ball sometimes. But again, none of these things, even if they're critiques I have of the overall story of the Baby arc, they don't actually make me dislike, Baby as a character. Krillin came in the convenient moments. Well, I mean, I like his handling a lot better in Super because he does appear more often. I just hate that they have a tendency to basically use him only to make other characters be motivated. Like, what's a good way for it? In the anime version of when Goku's talking to Vegeta about how all of our friends have been killed by Super Buu, they make it a point to show Krillin when he got absorbed or turned to chocolate or whatever. So they like just to you they have a thing where they keep only bringing him out to make somebody else get mad, which really does devalue him as a character. Like they have a term called, it was like girlfriend in the refrigerator, where it's basically you have a female character who dies or gets physically impaired to motivate a male character, and that's literally what like that Krillin's a gender swapped version of that. So we'll have him die the first time to make Goku mad, which is fine, whatever, because we can bring people back. We'll have him die a second time to make Goku mad. We'll have him die a third time to make Super Boo look cool because he, killed most of the cast. We'll have him die a fourth time in GT to make 18 mad. So it's really just a sad thing, the way that character is treated. But that's how Dragon Ball rolls. We give you some characters you really like, and then we treat them like trash. Oh, Megumi, have you seen the Goku Black video yet? Because I was going to make this point about how when I was rewriting the arc or suggesting certain stuff they could have done, having Black be like, hey, you're going to die a fourth time against me, huh? Like in mocking Krillin, basically. Why do you think Goku didn't use Ultra Instinct in his fight with Broly? Because he couldn't control it. I mean, good riddance too. I don't like that form. I liked it when it was just the black hair with the we call it the different eyes. We were just doing that, but that gray hair Grandpa Goku crap, throw it in the trash. Like I said, these forms are all just, and it was funny because this guy was like, "Oh, Ultra Instinct is the ultimate transformation." And I said that they literally said that about every form before that. Like the original Super Saiyan had a whole arc where they were sucking it off. The Super Saiyan only shows up every 1,000 years. And then it beats Frieza, and then it's outdated an arc later. And then Super Saiyan 2, oh my God, this is going to take out Cell. And then an arc later, it's outdated. And then 3 shows up, and it's only good for like one fight. Like literally the only form that actually lived up to the hype was Super Saiyan 4, because it's good all the way up until the end of the show. No, Dio, Dio. See, you're about to get banned. Why did you spoil Super Saiyan Lavender? Why did you reveal that that's how they're going to make Trunks' hair purple again? Always ruining the plot. You're probably one of those people that kept spamming the spoilers for Endgame. I remember they used to have those videos on YouTube from like 2007, where people would go to the Barnes and Nobles. This is how the Harry Potter ends. And they had one video where these people drove up, and this guy got so mad he started chasing their car. No, it was a joke, Dio. Relax. Do you think they had all these forms to prolong the show? I think they had all those forms because they're lazy writers. Again, like the reason I will defend the handling of Super Saiyan 4 is because it's never made to seem like it's obsolete. Like, granted, GT is not that long of a show. It's only 64 episodes. But remember, in that same span of time in Super, which is like, that would put us in the middle of the future Trunks arc, we've got at least 3 different forms at that point. We had God, we had Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan, or Blue as some people call it. We had Rose, just, it's not, what's a good word for it? It's not about trying to write a good story anymore. It's just to sell toys with palette swaps that don't have any real meaning to the story. Dio got the transcript on Super Saiyan Lavender. Yeah, they really. I don't know. I think probably this is the last time I'm going to praise a villain from any of like the Dragon Ball shows, because it kind of is all downhill from here. Like, what's a good word for it? Omega Shenron is cool in terms of his design and being intimidating and whatever, but he only shows up in like the last 5 or 6 episodes of the Shadow Dragons arc, like all the way toward the end. So Baby's really the last villain that I can think of that I feel was treated like a main character of the arc, where you see him grow as Goku grows. So you see all his transformations, and even when Goku's not fighting him, you're still seeing what he's doing and what's happening on Earth. He actually, you can make the case, he gets more screen time than any character in GT besides Goku and Pan, just in his one arc alone. And then maybe Vegeta, but no, I still don't actually think so. Megumi says, damn, they love these palette swaps. I never thought see a day where Super Saiyan was just, let's take it and change the color. Well, that's why I was praising the GT's handling of him, because when you look at Super 17, he's only around for like, what, a handful of episodes, and he's just a fusion that kind of doesn't really get to, like, he doesn't even get to go anywhere. He's just sitting in this random part of nowhere, fighting a bunch of different people, while his two masses overwatch him. And then it's kind of similar with Mega Shenron. He just sits in one place. Like, Baby went all around Earth just infecting people, and actually cementing his plan. Like, he was the only villain that was really trying to do something unique out of, probably any antagonist since Frieza. That's the funny thing. Like, Baby is, he's like a callback to a lot of other villains while still being kind of original. Like, he's similar to, again, I mentioned this earlier, but let me just go through him. He's similar to Frieza in wanting to do something besides just blow stuff up, and having subordinates, because he's the first villain since Frieza to actually have, well, I guess technically Babidi, but out of the main villains, to have people under him with the possessed Saiyans. With Cell, he's similar in that he's, what's a good word for it? He uses like techniques, like he's homegrown from the Earth basically. And then with Boo, he has the similarity of being able to absorb, or I guess like it's like the reverse, where Boo absorbs and then he invades. Like, Boo makes you become part of him, referring to Super Boo. But then Baby goes inside of you. It's like the opposite. That's why I hate that they didn't get to interact, because they're the polar opposite of each other. Baby's this muscular antagonist, and Boo is this overweight protagonist. Just damn. They had so much potential with that particular, I guess, story beat. Okay, Envoy says they did say Super Saiyans show up once every 1,000 years. By the way, hi. Well, I'm saying that's why it seems weird that we got all those Super Saiyans. Like, we went from one Super Saiyan in the Frieza arc to having 4 in the next arc. And then we had 5 in the Boo arc, and then it went down to 4 because Gohan apparently doesn't use Super Saiyan anymore. It was funny watching people say, oh, Gohan's going to get Super Saiyan Rose. Like, man, if you don't get out of here with that random, stupid form that nobody can even explain where it came from or how you get it. I'm trying to think what else I can say. I think I've pretty much said everything. What's something else I can think of? Oh yeah, one of my other memories relating to Baby that isn't specifically having to do with the show of GT is that in Budokai Tenkaichi, in the story mode, if you fight Baby as Super Saiyan 4 Goku and you start like losing, you have the option to switch out with Pan. And then if you beat Baby with Pan, she's like, Grandpa, I avenged you. And then Goku is like, I'm not dead. I just always thought that was funny, because it, like, the idea of Pan beating a main villain in GT, just when you know how not useless, but how much she was not anywhere close to the level of any of them at all. Like, it was funny. If Gohan can go Mystic, then Goku should have something similar since Gohan is the product of Goku. Yeah, they have. I mean, I don't understand. Like they kind of have this thing where the Saiyan human hybrids have the most potential, but then they're still rendered lazy to where the 100% Saiyans like Goku and Vegeta are able to still win or be the strongest because everybody else just sitting around not even bothering to train. Oh, Megumi, did you like my idea of having Gohan as Baby's main, as his permanent host? Because he's the bridge between Goku and Pan, who are the two main characters of GT. So it would be Goku having to take out his evil son. Like his seed is now the reason why. Like remember in the Cell arc, I want to leave the Earth because I'm the reason all these villains come here. Now his sperm is the reason the Earth is possessed and everyone is. You get what I'm saying? And then we could have had scenes where Vegeta was actually making fun of Baby, which we got a little bit of before he possessed him. And it would be unique to Vegeta's character because he's the only one that remembers the Tuffles. Yeah, Dio, exactly. He would actually have to pick it between killing his kid and saving the world. It would be totally unique from anything that any of the shows had done before. And it would make complete sense because Baby would say, "Oh well, I don't need Vegeta because he's fully a Saiyan, and I'm disgusted by those. That's why I'm not going to bother trying to possess him or Goku. I'm going to go for one of the Saiyans that is from Earth and is still an Earthling partially, and then use him and his potential to take over the place." Yeah, I'll do a video explaining it. I got so much Dragon Ball stuff planned. We got why Janemba was wasted. We got why Kid Buu was wasted. Why Oob was wasted. That would have made an even more interesting and great idea. Again, I'll flesh it out because I did start on the script for it. And I think I mentioned you before that the reason I didn't put it out or continue working on it was because I swapped it out for the Goku Black video. But I'll try to do it this week. Gohan was stronger than Vegeta. Yeah, they were probably around the same level. Now, boy, I'd be more interested in rewriting the arcs after Cell. There's a whole bunch of stuff I would just switch up. I'd say I will again, just in praising GT, of like between the Buu arc and everything in GT and everything in Super, the Baby saga is the closest to doing most of what I would like to see. Like it's the one I would mess with the least probably. When Vegeta went to hell, he was pardoned by the law in hell. Villains aren't given a second chance. But Vegeta's not a villain. That was a long time ago. Quit living in the past. Is the spirit bomb stronger if you're? Yes, you can charge it up more. Any technique is stronger when you transform. At least when you're a Super Saiyan. Uh, yeah. Well, you remember I said that it would have been better that the Buu arc would have been better if Majin Vegeta actually did kill Fat Buu and then he was brought back by Babidi with the Dragon Balls. Now I'll see if I can maybe for the baby Gohan video, I'll try to draw some pictures for it, just to kind of give you an idea of what I'm talking about. Because I know it's harder to some people can't visualize it themselves, which is cool. It'll take a little bit longer. But I actually do want to kind of show what I'm talking about with like why I'm really invested in this idea. Because when you think about it, all the characters who are like not infected have some kind of relationship with Gohan. Like Piccolo, him fighting an evil Gohan would have been. Remember, Piccolo was evil himself at one point, so it would have been like this complete full circle back to his own origins. Uh, you know, Hercule is the liar who took Gohan's victory from him in terms of like, oh, I beat Cell, even though he actually didn't. So it will be nice. The only regret I have of a Majin Vegeta is we didn't have a Majin Piccolo. That when I was thinking of doing a rewrite of the Buu arc, that was one of the points I was going to make. That it would be Majin Piccolo versus Gohan and Majin Vegeta versus Goku. That's why I hated that they had Piccolo as Stone because I just wanted to see him either fight the Bora or just like his role in the Buu arc is still better than anybody that's not a Saiyan. But I just think they could have done a little bit more with him, just a little bit. So Goku needed to be Super Saiyan 3 to beat. No, he was Super Saiyan 3, you love, remember? And it still wasn't enough. Did you see Yamcha being brutalized by Jiro in Ocean dub? I thought it was in every dub. I thought he just almost killed him. That's not exclusive to Ocean. That Ocean dub was funny. They had Wolverine voicing Piccolo. It was pretty crazy. What else am I gonna say? What's another? I'm trying to think of something else to use. But yeah, I would if I were to rank the villains, I'd say Baby's probably outside of Frieza, Cell, and King Piccolo the best used villain out of any of them in the whole series. Because as much as I like Fat Boo, he doesn't actually serve as the main antagonist for all of the Boo arc. And Super Boo is kind of just there for a portion of it, and then Kid Boo is there just for the tail end of it. So it doesn't really have a main antagonist. Like they just refer to Majin Buu, but it's still three different characters. I'm about to ban Dio in the Ocean dub as my voice just changes. What's good in the hood? Can I call you back? I'm in the middle of a thing. Bye. The voice dialect. No, they love to waste characters. Um, who else was wasted? Because I'm trying to cement the reason why I just made the statement that I did about only three villains being maybe better used than Baby out of the whole series. Beerus isn't really a villain. Jiren was, like he's. I already talked about how stupid he is, but like my thing with him is that he's basically not even really what's a good word for it? That proactive as an antagonist. Like he's kind of just there, looming on the horizon, and we only see him fight like twice. Uh, I mentioned before that Black, by the end of his own arc, wasn't even a thing anymore. It was a stupid fusion that is just Samasu with Goku's hairstyle. Oh, lazy designers. Um, and then Super 17 is just a fusion that shows up. No, these are like I'm saying that out of the main arc villains, like Raditz is a villain within the Vegeta saga or the Saiyan saga. Do you prefer the Japanese soundtrack for GT, by the way? Uh it's all right. I mean, I love the Faulkner stuff from America. I know a lot of the sub or dub people hate it. And you know, they abhor the GT rap. Oh, step into the Grand Tour, Grand Tour, Grand Tour. And I remember when that would come on, we get so excited, jump in front of the TV. They got all the different villains and characters showing up. You're trying to figure out what's about to happen. Oh my god! Oh, they American fans, especially ones that like sub, they hate that intro. It's almost like a sin to even mention it. Hey, Envoy, remember you can't mention Chris Benoit if you're like a wrestling fan. You can't mention the GT rap intro and liking it if you're a Dragon Ball fan because they will jump down your throat so quickly. It's like, damn, I've never seen a group of people who hate their own thing this much. The ethnic community, whatever that means. No, that's why I stopped talking to them, Megumi. They will like I didn't even when I started hearing about other people's interactions with them where they get like mad at someone for saying they prefer to watch the dub over the sub because they can actually tell what people are saying instead of having to read something. Oh my god. Like, really? God forbid you both like the show and just prefer to watch it in different ways. You kidding me? That's the hill you choose to die on. Well, yeah, Envoy GT is divisive, but it's generally agreed a couple of things. Super Saiyan 4 looks nice, got a good design. I've seen a lot of people who don't like GT that like that form, which is why it's in the games that it's in. That Baby was a good villain with a unique setup and arc. And what's something else? And the ending is the best ending for any Dragon Ball show, period. Which I will never dispute. That was the perfect conclusion. And then they brought it back. Music Fiend says, I didn't even know GT stood for Grand Tour. Well, Music Fiend, there are people who, because the show focuses so heavily on Goku, they call it Goku time. That's what GT stands for to them. What do you think they would have done for a GT movie? I mean, done the same thing with the Z movies. It's some antagonist shows up, they kick the crap out of anyone whose name isn't Goku. And then there's a miracle at the end. You know, same thing, different day. Yeah, that's what you can look that up. That's one of the names they refer to it as. I remember for Super, it was some ugly piece of there was some abbreviation for Super because like at the start, remember people were like, "Oh, the animation is so bad." It was like stupid, unexplained power ups every like reason or whatever, evading reason, like stupid, unexplained power ups evading reason. Every arc, there's a new power up with no explanation given. Oh my god. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Does the Z stand for Z Fighters and DBZ? No, the Z is there is no actual. It's not an abbreviation. It's just a letter. The reason that it's called that the Z was put there is because Toriyama thought Dragon Ball would be ending soon when he chose to continue it or when he chose to rename it. So like how Z is the final letter, these are the final arcs. Damn, what the hell? But that's the reason why it's called that, because Toriyama thought the manga would be ending soon. And yeah, that's been anything but the case. Well, again, when you're doing stuff in serialization, you kind of just have certain thoughts of, like, I remember if you read the Buu arc, even in the Viz translation, they're like, oh, after Dragon Ball will go on for a little bit longer, and then now we've got like what 10 or 12 volumes of Super, and it looks like we're gonna probably have like 20 or 30, like enough volumes to be half as much as the original manga. I'd like to see Frieza and Goku in hyperbolic time chamber. No, I'd rather not. I don't want one of them to kill the other. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I am gonna go. I gotta go take care of some stuff. I'll try to do the baby Gohan video either this week or next weekend or just sometime in the very near future. I gotta finish this script and then get some graphics. So I hope you enjoyed. See you later.